Here's another story from BoundingIntoComics.com. The Last of Us star Pedro Pascal says he, quote, wanted to create a healthy distance, unquote, between live-action series and original game. Now, the thing is, they paint this as if it's a horrible thing. He said in an interview that he hadn't really played the game because he's not good enough, but that he had played a little bit of it. But then, well, I'll go ahead and just read it. The usual red flags have begun to fly for HBO's upcoming live-action adaptation of The Last of Us. Series star Pedro Pascal has revealed that not only did he not engage with Naughty Dog's original works, but he also wanted to create a healthy distance between his deep depiction of protagonist Joel Miller and the character's video game counterpart. You know, this was a recent interview with GQ, where it was promotion for his Nicolas Cage film. But, you know, an interview drew to a close. I'm the biggest fan of The Last of Us, to which Pascal replied, "Did you play the game? It's so sad I haven't any skill to play it. And it was only a matter of minutes Friday. I had handed over to my nephew. He recalled, it really takes a special kind of skill, and I don't have it." Which, I mean, okay, if he didn't grow up playing video games, I had no problem there. Asked by the interviewer if he had watched his nephew play through the whole thing, then admitted, "I watched for as long as I was able to that day, and then I had to leave Florida. I found Joel so impressive. I found the whole of it such a visually impressive experience. And then I got word that I would want to imitate too much." See, this is the key part. And this is why this is not like some horrible thing, and it's very clickbaity. And it's Bound in the Comics, far from the only one. A lot of the other places have been doing the same thing. They put that in the headline. You know, but it's very clickbaity because the reason he didn't do it is because he doesn't want to imitate the video game. You know, but at the same time, it's like game writer and show co-writer Neil Druckmann, you know, who's, I mean, obviously highly involved in the video game. He's involved, you know. He's gonna be there to basically, hey, like, well, you know, let's ease up on this or that or whatever. Now you can sit there and say, you know, I personally think Neil Druckmann's a dumbass in certain areas, you know, in terms of like social justice and all that shit. So, you know, whatever. But we'll see. I mean, you know, but people are trying to paint this as if he is almost like disrespecting the game, and it's like, well, he doesn't want to imitate it. That's why, and I got no problem with that whatsoever. Because as an actor, you always hear in interviews actors and stuff talking about they don't want to do an imitation of somebody. They want to play the character, and their character is going to be, you know, the same person, but it's going to be different because it's in the hands of Pedro Pascal as opposed to, you know, like in the video game. So it's not. I mean, I don't care much for Pedro. So I think I mean, in some ways, I think he's really cool and stuff, and he seems, you know, relatively down to earth, but in other ways, he's a complete idiot, like most Hollywood people. And I shouldn't, you know, I guess I don't know, he's not a true Hollywood guy, I suppose, but he's a celebrity. But anyway, you know, the interviewer inquired as to how close do you think the script sticks to the game. You know, there's a very, very creative way of honoring what's important, as also what's preserving what is iconic to the experience of the video game, and also to include things that you wouldn't necessarily expect. And then, and then directions that you would expect to go in, it might not. They're doing some really smart things, all I can say. It's similar to the way Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni treat The Mandalorian, and how those guys, Manzin and Druckmann, are treating The Last of Us. It's in good hands because they love it so much. And it's like, well, you know, Druckmann had a lot to do with The Last of Us. You know, so it's like, if he's in charge, you know, whether or not I'm interested in the show or whatever, it's different because it's like you know, if the original creator is involved, then hey, you got to put your hands up and say it's his thing. He can do what he wants with it. You know, I don't agree with the idea that, you know, Pedro is like being disrespectful or whatever. You know, anyway, it goes on, it continues on, with similar answers being given in responses to similar questions in the lead up, such, and see, this is where he tries to draw a parallel to Halo or Cowboy Bebop, Wheel of Time. I haven't seen Wheel of Time. Well, I've seen a Halo, you know, Cowboy Bebop, you know, that wasn't good, but it's like, this isn't the same. Now, I'm not saying that The Last of Us will be a good show. It could suck. It might fucking suck for all I know. I mean, at this point, you want to say it will suck. Just because it's like you want to set your expectations for it to be shit, so that if it's okay or if it's decent, you're pleasantly surprised, or, you know, so you're not disappointed if you're a fan. But anyway, this is not the same as the, you know, the Cowboy Bebop shit, where they were just trashing the fans and everything. You know, no, this is not the same. You know, I agree with his mentality that you don't want. Now, at the same time, you can sit here and say, well, yeah, well, sure, you should be, you know, playing the game or this or that or whatever. But it's like different actors do different things. Some of them are into that method acting bullshit. Call me, call me Abraham Lincoln when we're on set, even though I'm using a fucking cell phone. Like Daniel Day-Lewis and him and Sally Field would text each other and call each other Abe Lincoln. Or he would have her call him Abe Lincoln and stuff and everything. It's Mary, it's this, it's that. It's like, what the fuck, dude? You're on a cell phone. Abraham Lincoln never had a cell phone. How method can you fucking be? But anyway, it's idiocy. It's lunacy. I don't agree with that. But you can't argue with the results because Daniel Day-Lewis was a great actor. I don't think he's retired. I don't think he'll ever do anything else ever again. But if he ever does, hey, I'll be interested. He's a great actor. I don't agree with his mentality towards acting. I think the method formula is weird, but whatever. But different actors approach things differently. That doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily bad. We'll see though. Anyway, I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.